So this quote right here is a very concerning one for the future of Unrivaled from Breanna Stewart. And this right here is her talking about obviously Project B as a competitor. And it is one of those things where I'm like, this is really, really concerning because I think we all kind of assumed that Unrivaled was going to be a 5v5 league eventually. We all just assumed there was going to be a 5v5 league eventually. And regardless of what happens, that's what the end goal is going to be, is to have it as a second league if they can. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. So you can see right here, full quote. I think Project B has a lot still in the works, so until they're really on the ground running, no, if it's a competitor, and that's not a shade to them or anything, I think it's just different. We're playing 3-on-3, we're staying in one city, they're playing 5-on-5, they're going to be all over the place. The salary, like comparatively speaking, they're pretty similar. Yeah, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not close to being similar. The entire Unrivaled salary, I think, is like Project B has announced like 10 players, 10 of its 66, and I would say of those 10 players, there's more salary already in Project B for them than there is in Unrivaled. So I guess that's what you want to do, travel all over. So I guess it's what you want to do, travel all over or stay here and play for 10 weeks. So basically, they're trying to make the argument. By the way, she made sure to say, we're playing 3-on-3. How many people are going to choose to play 3-on-3 over 5-on-5? And also, how many people invested in Unrivaled hoping that eventually it was going to end up being a competitor to the WNBA? Thinking maybe, and by the way, like, look, we all know that one of the biggest reasons why the WNBA can't get a CBA done is because the NBA owns 50%. And if there's ever a league that, like, I know obviously Caitlin Clark's playing in the WNBA, Angel Wilson, Sabrina, a lot of their things are built in the WNBA. Like, a lot of their brand deals are tied to the WNBA. But if we're being completely honest here, if every single player, if the WNBA shut down, you will get funding for another league at the same time as the WNBA, maybe in America, probably in America. You absolutely would get funding. The problem is that, like, you wouldn't have the big arenas, it wouldn't have the same prestige, but like you get funding, and every one of these players could play in a league, and long term it could succeed. Like, that's the only way you can be like, okay, yeah, maybe a lockout will help. Because obviously it's one of those things where it's a bit tricky. It is a little bit tricky to see how a lockout benefits anybody. Because again, the growth, a lot of it is to do with WNBA, and people don't realize, like, when it comes to basketball, how big a brand the NBA is. How just seeing NBA anywhere, how big a brand that is. Like, even with the NBA fucking 2K League was making good money. Like, people were making good money, and it was like, if you were part of the NBA 2K League, you were linked to an NBA team, and that was seen as this kind of big thing. But yeah, it is just an interesting one to think about, because you would have assumed that at some stage they were going to go 5v5. You just would have assumed it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't look like it. It looks like they want their 5v5 summer camp. Or say their 3-on-3 summer camp. And I'm going to be honest, I really want Unrivaled to succeed, because I would love, for the players that set it up, the risk they took, the players that have equity in it, there being another women's basketball league that a lot of top players are playing in. But like, whatever with Project B, I don't think Project B is going to succeed. I think Project B could. I think it could be fun. But like, if you're basically banking on players taking a 90% pay cut so that they can go to summer camp in Miami, which is basically, it sounds like that's what Stewie's trying to say, is that, the big thing is that we don't have to, we can stay at home. You don't have to go and travel. I'm sorry, like, it doesn't really matter where you're from, but imagine just being able to travel the world and getting to see all these cities. And with the amount of time off you have, you're playing less basketball. Like it's like, oh, it's 10 week for Unrivaled. Okay, it's a little bit more than 10 weeks for Project B. A little more. I think it's 12 weeks of playing. You play 12 weeks of playing over a much longer period of time than Unrivaled is. So, yeah, for me, it's a really, really weird one. It's a really, really weird one because I don't know how exactly, like, her coming out and saying, we're going to stay as a 3v3 league. We're not really competing because, they're a 5v5 league, we're a 3v3 league. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's like, oh, players can make a choice. They can either they can either travel all over the world or, basically stay here under one arena. And I'm like, you're playing in one arena that hosts 800 people and you are paying a shitload of money in comparison to the WNBA. I get it. The operating costs are relatively low because everyone's in the one place. And that's the one positive, is that everyone is in the one place. But like, the players are living in short-term rentals. The players are there's probably a lot of players living out of hotel rooms. It's the fucking wobble, like. It's the bubble, almost. And you're looking now at a situation where Unrivaled is never, like, once you lose 2 or 3 players, Unrivaled's done. Like, I'm sorry, you've already, like, if you look at the biggest names in the WNBA, you are very lucky Paige Bueckers. In terms of viewership, you're very lucky Paige is gone to Unrivaled. And the fact is that Paige Bueckers was asked about Project B. And by the way, like, Project B doesn't happen until the end of the year. Paige Bueckers could very well go play in Project B. She was asked about it and goes, oh, don't ask us about that. That's up to our agents. Like, there is a genuine chance that Paige Bueckers is a Project B player next year. And Sophie Cunningham said it herself. She was like, a lot of players are going to switch. Alyssa Thomas switched. If you look at the all Unrivaled first team last year, Kayla McBride was on it. Kayla McBride's not playing in Unrivaled. Alyssa Thomas was going to be on it. Alyssa Thomas is playing in Project B next year. And again, Alyssa Thomas playing in Unrivaled this year. There's going to be a lot of players in Unrivaled this year that are going to play in Project B. Kelsey Mitchell. Again, if you look at the biggest names, the odds of Kelsey Mitchell playing in or of Aaliyah Boston playing in Project B are like 90%. I would say not. It's a case of like, look, who's one of the main people running Project B on the WNBA side? It's Candace Parker, a literal podcast host with Aaliyah Boston. Like, in terms of some of the brand stuff that they can do with their podcast and the outside of basketball things, and Aaliyah Boston making her name worldwide, she is worldwide famous. She's one of the players that is. She probably will be playing Project B. But if you look again at Unrivaled, you've got Kelsey Mitchell this year. That's big. You've got Aaliyah Boston to stay. You've got Lexi Hull. But, like, you've already lost Sabrina Ionescu. And by the way, I fully believe that 2 of Caitlin Clark, Sabrina Ionescu, Angel Reese, and Aja Wilson will play in Project B. Caitlin Clark, the least likely of them. I don't think Caitlin Clark's going to be playing in Project B. But I do think Sabrina Ionescu is going to be playing in Project B. And people are like, oh, Nike won't let her. It's like, Nike will be pushing for her to play in Project B. Could you imagine? She's doing all the shoe tours and she's doing all the stuff with Nike. Nike can just rearrange. They can just rearrange their shit around Project B for Sabrina. Other than the odd time Sabrina might have to leave for some Nike commitments. And you better believe Project B, of all things, Project B will absolutely let her do that. So yeah, for me, it's a really interesting one to see what's going to happen. But I think with Unrivaled, the only selling point by this the only selling point sounds like, to like star players is, oh, look, you can stay in America. And I'm like, free trip around the world. Like, you don't have to live in Turkey. You don't have to live in some iffy enough countries for some of these players. You don't have to live in these countries. You can go, you can stay in America. But I'm like, okay, you don't have to live in these countries. Or, let's be real, the Unrivaled tour is going to be, you are traveling the world, you're playing in Dubai, you're probably playing in Dubai, you're probably playing in, maybe not Dubai. Maybe you will. But you're playing in all these super fancy places. It's almost like they're trying to make it like tennis, like the way the tennis tours travel. And you're going to be playing in luxury, staying in luxury, all of these things. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. It's a really interesting one to see when it comes to when it comes to the part for 2 Unrivaled, and I just don't see it lasting. Like, first of all, confirming that's going to be a 3-on-3 league. I'm sorry, it's gimmick basketball. Nobody gives a damn watching. People tuned in for day one. If you looked at last year's ratings, people watched on day one, and people watched the 1v1 tournament. Nobody gave a. You had most of the biggest players in the world. Nobody gave a fuck. You had Angel Reese, and no one gave a fuck. No one gave a fuck. No one gave a fuck who was playing. No one watched any of the teams. It's not like, oh, we peaked when Angel Reese was there, but we struggled in games where, maybe it was like this team against this team. No one watched anyone. No one gave a damn. Because you tuned into Unrivaled, and I hate to say this, the product was fucking shit. Like, day one was crazy because no one really knew what to do, and it was just helter-skelter, sprint up and down basketball. And then everybody realized, oh shit, if we play like this for the entirety Unrivaled, we're all going to get injured. And then it just became watching Chelsea Gray, watching Alyssa Thomas ram through people, or Kayla McBride ram through people, or Fee, in fairness, post-fading. Nobody guarding anybody. Like, Angel won Depoy by fucking reputation because no one played defense in Unrivaled. There was a team that we called Cancun Basketball Club where they clearly did not give a flying fuck about basketball in the Phantom. Their second best player, for a lot of it, was Katie Lou Samuelson. And then you had fucking players ramming through people on the offensive end. And then Chelsea Gray backing people down for the entire length of the court. It was awful. Like, it was a bad product. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, I can't believe Unrivaled added 2 extra teams instead of saying, you know what, this product isn't great. Maybe we should at worst go to 4v4, because 4v4 is real basketball. Post players are irrelevant in this. Like, centers are literally liabilities. Centers and point guards are liabilities. And Chelsea Gray's a bit different because, again, Chelsea Gray plays fucking power forward for the Aces. Centers and point guards are genuine liabilities in Unrivaled in this 3v3 system. It is a battle of the big wings. They're the only things that matter. Or the, big wings or forwards with guard skills. That's all that matters. That's all that matters in Unrivaled. Anyway, yeah, that's the video. I'll see you guys.